Okay. Yes. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And for those of you that came from the mountains, I know it was kind of a heroic trip. I think a lot of people that planned on attending are not because of the weather. So we were expecting around 40 people, but you can see we have significantly less. So my name is Wayne Munster. I'm the Deputy Director of Elections for the state of Colorado. And I just want to welcome you all. And I have notes somewhere. So in the back we have a sign-in sheet. At the end of the day, or at the end of the demonstration, we'll take comments. We'll limit those comments to 3 minutes. But if you do want to make comments or you anticipate that you might, the sign-in sheet is back where Christy is. And we have agendas back there as well. So if you didn't grab an agenda, Christy's actually walking around. So today we're in the middle of certifying equipment that has been submitted by the ES&S. And part of the certification requirement is that we have a public demonstration. For those of you that may want to know, that is Rule 45.6, and it lays out some specific things that we have to do during this demonstration. This demonstration is being videotaped. We have 2 cameras in the back. We're also streaming it live online, just the audio, not the video. So we will archive what happens here today, and have that on our website. Again, not the video, just the audio, okay? So part of when a vendor applies to the Secretary of State's office in Colorado for certification, there are 4 phases. One is the application, which we received from ES&S on November 8th. We do a document review, which we have completed and found sufficient. We next have to do a public demonstration. That's why we're all here today. After the demonstration, we will submit everything you see here to the voting system testing lab. The VISTL is what we call it. Voting system testing lab takes a lot of words. So the VISTL. Once the VISTL does the testing, they will then submit documents or the testing results to us, which we then in turn submit to the Secretary for review and approval or not approval or disapproval. Now, Chris, let me introduce you now. Chris Rusino.
Correct.
He's with ES&S, and he's going to talk a little more about this, but ES&S submitted everything you see here to the EAC, and it has come out of the EACs as certified. So now we're going to test to Colorado-specific requirements, which is going after. So what we'll do is we'll incorporate the EAC certification results, and then we'll test to Colorado-specific requirements. So the purpose of this, oh, you know what, I should stop. Thank you for reminding me, Christy. I want to introduce some of the Secretary of State staff that's here. Most importantly, Judge Choate, Director of Elections, who's right here. Christy Hepper, who keeps me straight and in line. She's our Voting Systems Manager. Danny Casillas, he's a Voting Systems Specialist. Jerome Lovato, Voting Systems Specialist. And Stephanie Mann, who is a Compliance Officer. So, sorry, I should have done that at the beginning. So the purpose of this is a demonstration. This is not a test. We are not testing the equipment. We're not trying to certify it here. We're not trying to examine the equipment. This is just a demonstration of the functionality of it. So we're not trying to figure out if the machine can or cannot produce a certain report or anything like that. We just want to have a demonstration of the functionality. That's all we're here for. Chris is going to also be producing or showing a PowerPoint. Once we're finished here, we will post that PowerPoint on our website. It will be in the voting system section under systems currently being tested? Or,
Yeah, it's on the agenda. I can't remember the exact link.
okay, it's on the agenda. Also, on our website, under voting systems, you can find our Colorado requirements matrix. That's what we are going to ask the VISTL, the Voting System Testing Lab, to test to. And it's very prominent on our website. Just go to voting systems and it says testing matrix, and you can see what we're asking the VISTL to do and what the EAC has done. Okay. The EAC on their website under certification, which Chris will go into more, you can find all of their testing results. So as we move forward with certification testing, you can also go back and take a look at what the EAC has done. Am I missing anything? I think we're good. Okay, so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris, and he's going to go ahead and introduce the ES&S staff, and then we'll lead into the PowerPoint.
Thank you very much, Wayne. Appreciate that. First, I want to thank all you guys for coming. The weather may or may not be bad by the time we're out of here, but hopefully it's still good. I want to introduce the entourage that I brought along. I'm Chris Persino. I'm the Colorado State Certification Manager. This is Steve Pearson. Right here is the Vice President of Voting Systems. We have Paul Harrington over there, who is the Regional Sales Manager.
Did I screw that up?
Bridget Richardson, our Senior Customer Service Manager for the West, and Aaron Amos, our Colorado Customer Service Manager. The agenda today, as Wayne kind of pointed out, I'm going to talk through everything first on this PowerPoint, do a system overview, background, release summary, the highlights of the system, and then once that is finished, we'll go ahead and actually demonstrate each piece of equipment. We'll start with the Automarketer voter assistance terminal and move along. Some of this you may be familiar with. The M100 and the M650 versions of that have been certified in Colorado before. This is a firmware upgrade for END 3400, so it just adds some functionality and improvements. And then at the end we will do general questions and answers. So a little background on Unity 3400. It was developed on Unity 3210 base. Unity 3210 was EAC certified March 29, 2011. And that was tested and certified to the 2002 voluntary system standards. Unity 3400, which is what we have brought here today and are certifying in the state of Colorado, was EAC certified on October 31st of this year. It passed on all software, firmware, and hardware VISTL examinations with 100% accuracy. So as Wayne had mentioned, to get an EAC certification, you have to go through strenuous EAC VISTL testing, which is the independent voting system test laboratory. It passed on all VISTL TVP document requirements. It successfully completed the required VISTL functional and performance testing. It needs to pass strenuous environmental, security, volume and stress, data accuracy, and reliability testing to be granted an EAC certification. The data accuracy, just as an example, we read over 1.6 million ballot positions on all the systems with 100% accuracy. As you can imagine, that test takes quite a long time. We do power and temp tests that range a week straight of running these tabulators non-stop and running ballots through them, and it has passed all those with 100% accuracy. A little history on what Colorado currently has certified from us and what we are looking to certify now and the differences between them. It's a firmware and software upgrade to the 3011 Amendment A, which is currently certified in the state of Colorado. And it adds the DS200 Precinct Tabulator, the DS850 Central Tabulator, and also the Automarketer, which is a voter assistance terminal. Like I said, the M650 and the M100 have already been certified. This is just an upgrade in the version of the firmware. It also adds a log monitor service, which is an EAC requirement to to where it runs in the background, and if for some reason any Audit Manager, which is one of our auditing Unity programs, where it's auditing and seeing in the EMS system what's being done, if for some reason that is turned off, if someone tries to turn off the Windows Event Service, which logs everything, this log monitor service automatically shuts the Unity programs down. So for the EAC to certify, you have to have that fail-safe to make sure that you are able to audit everything that you're doing on your EMS station. It also adds AIMS, which is the software to load your election onto the Automarketer. The EMS workstation, EMS environment is a hardened environment. That means that it is not exposed to any public networks when it is deployed in the recommended configuration, which it was tested to. Implementation of effective election system security guards the election process and assures the public confidence in results. We have 3 EAC certified system configurations. We have the standalone system, which is just the EMS. It'd be a laptop with all your Unity programs on there. You have a peer-to-peer, which is where you have a closed network that combines the peer-to-peer file server with one or more of those EMS workstations. And we have a locally networked EMS. That is a closed network system that combines a client server with one or more of the workstations. Only certified components can be installed on your EMS hardened system. The hardening configuration includes the BIOS setting, for which the vendor PC, whatever, if you're using a Dell PC, then you have to use the Dell BIOS settings. It's a security precaution, is what that is. You have a system administrator role, which is a Windows built-in role. So you need a password to get in there, username and password. We also have 3 additional user groups beyond those first 2, okay? So now we have elect admin, which is a user that has access to all the applications installed in the system, but they are not allowed to remove or add any programs. The system administrator role is the only one that is able to remove or add. Your elect admin has the ability to get into the system, but it cannot add or remove anything. You have an elect define user who only has access to the front end of the Unity suite, which is the actual election definition. No results. They can't get into the ERM, which is the back end part of our Unity EMS station. And then we have the elect results user, who's the opposite. He only gets to get into ERM. That user can only get into the back end. He cannot get into the front end. So as you can see, there's extensive security features that go through on this EMS station. And those security passwords have to be so complex, 12 characters, can't use your name, a lot of complexity to the passwords, and we recommend through our use procedures that each election you change all of those passwords, so you have new passwords. The Audit Manager is one of the Unity programs. It runs in the background of the other Unity programs, and what this does, it provides password security and also a real-time audit log of all the inputs and outputs. So when you log onto the system, when you log off, what system you're in, and as you can see on the PowerPoint, it gives you a kind of, it tells you the time, where you were, and what you had done. And that is always running in the background of all the Unity systems. Election Data Manager, this is where you do the election definition. This is where you create and edit the election definition through a single interface. ES&S-IM is ES&S Image Manager. This is where from EBM you move the file over to ES&S-IM and it creates an IFC and you do your ballot layout. This is where you kind of do the artwork of the ballot. You can add headings, you can move it around, make spacing different, however you need to do it. This is kind of the artistic side of creating the ballot. As I mentioned earlier, AIMS, which is a new program that goes with the Automark. It's the software. You take the ES&S-IM, and you bring that, you import that IFC into Ames, and it creates your ballot for your voter assist terminal. We have a VAT previewer in Ames, which allows you to pull up on your EMS workstation the ballot which will show up on the Automark. So you can actually review it and make any change that you need. Phonetic changes, if a name is not pronounced right, you can change that. You can see exactly what they're going to see on the VAT, on the Automark, so before you create that compact flash card to load the election on the terminal, you know exactly what's going to be on there. Hardware Programming Manager is where you program the rest of your election media. This creates election definitions for all of the tabulators that we have here. You create parameters for each of those. What polls you want, if you want to do early voting, absentee voting, all of that is done in HPM. Election Reporting Manager is the back end of the system. This is where you generate your paper and electronic reports for election and for the media for election results. So as you can see, you can add or change your groups with early voting, absentee, election day, the equipment that you're using, and bring your results back in for reports. Some highlights of the existing products that are already certified with 3011 in the state of Colorado is the Audit Manager, as I mentioned. This adds logging and user creation and changes made. It also added logging of admin and login and logouts, which it did not have before. Hardware Programming Manager, it has enhanced security to require that you reopen and admin passwords are entered. So you cannot go into it without typing in a password. It's added functionality to create new election from a previous election, which was not on the previous version, and also added support for the DS200 and the DS850 programming the media for those two tabulators, which are new. ERM has improved usability and results loading, and an enhanced ERM system log that provides improved auditing of all the ERM update processes, including data input and output errors. So the release summary for Unity 3400, as I mentioned, the M100 right here is the Precinct Tabulator, the M650 is Central Tabulator, which are not new to Colorado. The Automark, which is a new piece, it's a voter assistance terminal. This does not tabulate or record any votes. It just marks the ballot. It's a marking device. And then we have the DS200, which is a new precinct vote tabulator, and the DS850. So kind of the next generation of these machines, but with Unity 3400, you can use any or all of them in one election. And there's a picture of them. You can see them right here. So highlights of some of these existing products. What's better about them? What's better about the M100? Well, we expanded the precincts from 10 to a maximum of 18 election day precincts, and we expanded the precincts from 10 to a maximum of 450 early voting precincts. We have design security that stops non-privileged users from entering the privileged menus. You need to enter an password. M650, what have we improved? We improved the user messages, easier to understand what you need to do. It lets you know more clearly. Highlights of the new products. The Automark Voter Assist Terminal. This enables voters who are visually or physically impaired, or voters who are just more comfortable reading or hearing the instructions and choices to privately mark optical scan ballots. And we will demonstrate, like I said, it does not tabulate, it just marks them for you. Ames, which is the software, it manages all the information required by the Automark for an election. The VAT previewer, as I said, is part of inside of Ames, and it allows you to preview the ballot before you before you create the media for the Automark. And the Log Monitor service, as I mentioned, is an application that detects whether the event log service is running, and it will shut down the Unity applications if it is not active. and this does not require any user action. It is running in the background. The DS200, which is this machine right here, but it is a digital scan paper ballot tabulator designed for polling place use for smaller jurisdictions. It can also be used as a central count. Both sides of the ballot are processed simultaneously with high-resolution scanners for immediate tabulation. It has a 12-inch touchscreen that provides voter and poll worker feedback immediately. An internal thermal printer for generating machine totals and audit logs. It uses a USB thumb drive for the election definition and storing the results all on that thumb drive. We use a 4 gigabyte, 8 gigabyte, or a 512 millibyte USB Delkin. It also includes physical security features and real-time audit log. So as I will show you when we run through this, at the end when you are printing your report, you will have an audit log of everything that was done, so you can always track what was put in to the scanner and audit. This is a pretty quick tabulator. The estimated maximum throughput is between 2 to 3 voters per minute. There is a ballot stamper that is optional where it will mark if it has a write-in on the ballot, it will mark it for you for your election officials to easily see if there's a ballot with a write-in, so they can pull that to the side. The DS850 is the high-speed digital scan Central Tabulator. Uses advanced cameras and imaging algorithms to capture voter selections on the front and back side of the ballot and to evaluate results and sort them discretely into 3 different bins, which we have here. There is a dedicated dot matrix audit log printer that generates continuous event log. We also have a second laser printer right down here for results reports. We have a uninterruptible power supply in the middle there. We have security locks and windows over all of our USB ports. Over here, you can see over here. We have data encryption and digital signatures to verify that the data authenticity. So it is very secure. It has gone through all the EAC rigorous testings to be secure. The scanner saves voter selections and ballot images to the internal hard drive and exports. It has a 1 terabyte hard drive in there. So approximately, if you're using a 17-inch ballot, front and back side, taking images of, and saving those images of the front and back side, you can store approximately 14 million ballots on the hard drive. So there's plenty of room on there. On an 8 gig stick, you can fit about 100,000 ballots on an 8 gig stick for your reports to move into ERM. We have a touchscreen graphical interface here. This can read the ballots in all 4 orientations, which is an upgrade to the 650, which is in only 1 orientation. You can do this in all 4 orientations. And your optimal throughput is between 350 and 400 ballots per minute. And now I'm going to go ahead and do the demonstration of each one of these machines and walk you through it and show you what it can do. This is the Automark. This is a voter assistance terminal. As I mentioned, it marks your ballot. So I have an election here. Here's a ballot. In here, you need a key to get in here. There's a compact flash with the election loaded. So you lock that. We also have wire seals that can go through here so you can't get in there. And we have stickers that can go across everywhere that you need them. And what you do is you put the ballot, and And I have the speakers on here, so this is what you would hear if you had headphones on the ballot.
Four arrow keys in the central select button. In addition to the arrow keys, there are four vertical keys to the right of the arrow keys. The bottom toggle key will adjust audio volume. The next toggle key will adjust the speed of the synthesized speech. The round button will repeat the last spoken phrase. Holding the round button until there is a beep will pause the audio. Tapping the round button again will resume the audio.
So at any time you can stop this and you can actually just go into your ballot, but it gives you the direction of what each keypad does. So if you have different options of how you can do this. You can touch here, you can use it as a touch screen, you can use the pad here. We also have a 2-pad switch. And we also have, you can use a sip and puff device if you need to. And we'll go ahead and use this. So we hit the next button. So now it's going through your first race.
Use the select key to make your selection. Use the right arrow.
So if you choose one, it will tell you who you chose.
Alexander/Warriors. Democratic.
And if you think that, wait, I didn't mean to pick that one. So if you hit the, it'll just switch it for you. Okay, so once you vote that, you can hit next, or you can hit this.
Rebecca Sanchez/Larry Lynn.
That's who we pick, so then we can go forward.
Contest. Federal offices. Representative to the United States Congress. District. You vote selected. Patrick Sullivan. Libertarian. You have not fixed contest. State offices. State Senate.
And you can go through and
Vote for one.
it won't let you overvote,
Samples. You vote selected.
so it'll switch it back.
You
Now,
vote
if
selected. You vote selected. Timothy O'Neill.
if you try and go to the next one without voting this race, it will let you know.
Fewer than the number of candidates or choices that you are permitted to select for this contest. If you wish to return to this contest and select additional candidates or choices, please press the left arrow key. If you wish to confirm your desire to undervote, you can continue on to the next contest by pressing the right arrow key.
So you can choose not to vote that race, or you can go back to it and vote it again. So if we go to the next one, it'll take you to the next contest.
State Representative, District 20.
And
Vote for one.
we'll try it again.
Two.
We'll go to the next
Alert.
one.
You vote selected fewer than the number of candidates. or
Under vote.
choices
Oh, I want to
that
go
you are
back.
permitted to select for this
So I'm going to go back, and
previous contest.
it'll take you right back to that
State
contest
Representative,
that you were just
District
on.
20. Vote for one. There are two choices. Use the down arrow. You vote selected. Red Young, Republican.
And if you feel like this is going too fast from your headphones, you can slow the tempo
You
down.
vote selected. Red Young, Republican. You have now voted.
I don't know if you want to go that slow.
Press the right. You vote
Or if
selected.
you'd like to hurry it up.
You vote selected. Red Young.
I mean, you can go at whatever tempo you want.
You vote
You
selected.
can go whatever volume you want.
Republican.
With your headphones, the
You have
volume
now
can go
voted
up or
for this
down.
contest. Press
You
the
can
right arrow key.
repeat, if
to
you missed
continue
what
to
he
the
said
next
and you want to
screen.
repeat, you can repeat it. You can hit the repeat button,
You vote selected.
and it'll tell you the last thing that he said again.
You have
Okay.
now fully voted this contest. Press the right arrow key.
And this is also
to continue
adjustable.
to the next screen.
So it's wheelchair accessible, it rolls right up, and if you need to go down or up or back, you're able to do that. And we'll just get through this real quick, hold on, I'll get to a proposition and show you how it'll talk all the way through the proposition. It's too long of a ballot.
It looks very small type.
You can, That is, because it has to be able to fit everything on there, if there's a long proposition or something, so that is the height that it does. It is to the, HAVA standards. It actually exceeds the HAVA, meets or exceeds the HAVA standards for the size and all the requirements for the Help America Code Act and the ADA Code Act. Oh yeah, you can zoom, because you can zoom if you need to. And then so you have to press the down button to see the rest of it. And if you prefer it white with a black background, you can do that. So it will read you through all the way through the
Shall be authorized to mail only one set of Tabor election notices for Tabor election to each mailing address of one or more registered text contest. Ballot questions. County question 1B. If approved, the county shall be authorized to mail only one set of Tabor election notices for Tabor election to each mailing address of one or more registered electors. And general or coordinated elections, the Tabor election notice shall generally be forwarded to the county clerk to be included with those Tabor notices from other jurisdictions. And the next election, the county shall mail one notice or set of Tabor election notices to each address of one or more registered electors. By mailing only one set of Tabor election notices, instead of two now required due to different mailing dates set forth in the county charter and Colorado Constitution, the county shall save approximately $30,000 per Tabor election. There are two choices. Use the down arrow key to hear the name of each candidate or choice listed. Use the select key to make your yes. You vote selected. Yes. Alert. You did not hear all candidates or
So
choices
if you're
on
zoomed
the
in
third
and you don't go
contest.
all the way down, you have to go to more and more and more. If you don't go all the way to the bottom, it will let you know that there were more candidates that you could have looked at. Okay, and it lets you know if you want to go back and look at them, even though you made a choice, or if you want to proceed to the next contest. So we'll go through the rest of this. There's just a couple more propositions. Okay, now we have a summary screen.
Arrow keys to scroll through each contest and hear your selections. If you wish to modify a selection, use the select key to return to that contest. If you are satisfied with your selections, press the right arrow key to proceed.
So it allows you, once you've voted it, to review and make sure that everything that you have is what you want.
This is the summary screen.
And if you need to go to and change, you're like, oh, I meant to hit no on this proposition. You can go to it, and it'll go to that contest, and you can switch, and then it'll go back into the summary, okay? So once we have done that,
County question one,
we can go through each race if we want to.
Please press the right arrow key to proceed.
And then we go to next.
If you wish to mark your ballot now, press the square select key. Your ballot will be marked in accordance with your selections and returned to you for deposit into a tabulator or ballot box. If you wish to change a selection, use the left arrow key to return to the summary screen. If you wish to exit without marking your ballot, use the left arrow key until you hear the exit message, and then follow the instructions. Your
So it
blank
gives you
ballot
yet
will
another
be returned
chance
to you.
before you mark your ballot if you want to make changes. So if we hit the mark ballot button,
Your ballot is now being processed. Please wait. The printing process should take about 15 seconds. Your ballot will then be returned to you for insertion into the tabulator or ballot box. Please wait.
so now it's printing, and it's marking all your choices for you. now we have a marked ballot with all of our choices, front and back. Okay, and then so what we can do is we walk over to one of our tabulators, and we can put it right in. Okay, really a nice, great ADA device. Also, I forgot to show you this. Beyond being able to zoom in or out, we also have accessories like this where you can magnifying glass go to the screen.
Chris, if the voter,
If I could interrupt
Oh,
real
I'm
quick. If anybody needs to speak because we're broadcasting, please come to the podium.
Oh.
If you want to take questions now,
I can hold it.
but that's up to you. But if you do, let's just get them on the mic.
So why don't we wait till, well, you know, I don't want you to lose your thought
I'll
and
write it
come
down.
back, so why don't we just do it now?
Yep, we can.
Okay.
And Dwight, if you do speak, please introduce yourself. If you're representing a county or an organization, please state that for the record also.
Okay, I'm Dwight Shellman from Hickman County. Just a couple of questions. The system audio on that device, I presume, is pretty much hardwired. You can't change that. But can you use a different audio track for the actual ballot content?
You like importing WAV files for a different type of voice.
Exactly.
Yes,
Okay.
you can. You can do that.
And then if a voter marks their ballot using that device and sees that, for whatever reason, the ballot that was printed out did not correspond to their intent, since the ballot hasn't been tabulated yet, there would be nothing to prevent them from using the device again.
Right, and that would go with the election official's protocol of if they go to the election official and want,
And
they
spoil
request
it.
a new ballot, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
There's actually another feature of the system for a sightless voter.
Again, we're going to need you to speak in a microphone.
Okay.
You can use Chris's or you can come up here.
No, why don't I travel around with this?
There's another, my name's Steve Pearson, I'm with ES&S. There's another feature of the system, so if you're a sightless voter, that once the ballot is ejected, you can reinsert it. It will scan it and it will tell you what you actually voted, and it's a verification method for that voter.
Hi, my name's Tim Wheat with the Center for People with Disabilities in Boulder. And first is the table and the, looks like the privacy cover, is that part of the
Yes.
system?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, and then, so that, I believe the feature that you were talking about, if I had my ballot printed, would I be able then to put it in a second machine or put it back in that machine to have it verified?
Right,
Excellent. Okay. And I noticed it read instructions as you place the ballot in there. Is there a separate set of instructions for the sip and puff device or the green-red? If you
Yeah, it will.
put those in.
Right, it will show you that the sip and puff, if you, the sip, there will be a puff that moves it forward and the sip moves it back. And then the yes/no paddle, it's just like having the left-right paddle.
I see, but what I'm saying is it starts out with instructions on the panel use. If you plug the sip and puff device or the
Yeah,
panel.
you can have any kind of directions that you
Yeah,
need.
oh, all right. Thank you.
For that, yeah. Okay, I'm going to move on to the DSA 50 Central Tabulator now. This is the new big Central Tabulator that came out with Unity 400. We have, over here, we have our power supply, and we have a key and a lock. It is just similar to over here. These are just USB ports. And it's exactly the same where we have a key that you have to get into for our power supply to get in. And again, we have, beyond the key, we also have wire seals that you can seal through. Okay, so they need to be cut before you can do anything, and you can also use the stickers across, so we have plenty of security measures for people. to get an election on here, you first put in a EQC stick. You have 3 different sticks that you use for USB sticks that you use for the DS850. You have a clearing, an initializing stick, which is your EQC stick that you put in, and then you have the election. And I'll go ahead and show you that, even though we have one set up here. So we're just shutting it down now. We're going to restart it and go from the beginning. Okay, as I was saying, we have an EQC stick, which is our clearing and initializing USB, that we burn in HPM on our workstation. Then we have our election stick that we also burn over there on our EMS workstation. Then we have a blank USB for when we want to export our results. Okay, so we have 3 separate ones, and we have it will not allow you. We have checks that will not allow any unverified or uncertified USBs to work on this machine. This also tilts for the short people like myself. And this is your real-time audit log printing saying you started it up. Now we do have an election loaded on here. So we have the option of logging in to this election, to setting up, which is doing EQC in an election to load a new election or to shut down. If we go to login, if we wanted to keep, we need a code. We can't just get into the election. You have to have a code, and you set your codes in EMS when you're setting up the election definition. We have 5 different codes. We have the clearing and qualifying code, which is for this, for our EQC at the beginning. We have an election code, which is for this, getting into the actual election. We have an override code, which is in case you need to override something, you have to have, these are all 3 separate codes. An admin code, in case you need to get into an admin menu if you want to change your sorting or anything like that, or your time. So you have an admin code, and then you have a clearing, override, election, clearing. That's all of them. So you do have those codes. So we're going to start over. So to set up an election, to load an election, we first have to clear and initialize. So we hit the button, and it's searching for our USB. And I can use any one of these USB ports. So when I put it in, it will now find it, and I have to enter my code. So this is my clear and initialize code. And it's saying a valid EQC was found. That is where, there's your check that if it's an invalid or they try and insert it, it will not allow you to do it. So a valid EQC media was found. So do you wish to continue? Yes, so now it's clearing and initializing. It's wiping off the election that was loaded on there. It was successful. So now it says, it lets you know, it'll always give you the instructions on the screen. It'll say, now remove it from the USB port and press the done button. So we'll remove it, we'll press the done. So now we have nothing on there. So now we need our election. We've got to load our election on there. It's searching. So we put in our election definition. And we have to enter our election code. And there we go, again is our check, a valid election was found. That's the name of the election, there's our date, you wish to continue, yes, we want to load it. The election definition was successfully loaded. Before scanning ballots, please verify that the output stops are set for the appropriate length ballot. Failure could, it'll jam in the output trays. And then also, it lets you know, remove your USB and press done. And a reminder, make sure you remove the USB for the inserted election definition. Okay, so now we have our election loaded. So now we're going to go to our menu and our options. We have scanning options where we can scan the ballots, which we'll do here in a second, but I kind of want to take you through some of these menus. Election, the configuration, okay, this is where we can do our different bin sorting. Okay, so let's go to our sort settings. Right now, we have this so that any unclear marks or ballots that cannot be read will go to the top bin and not be processed. Okay, it'll kick them to the top. And we have a process and sort for our write-ins. So our write-ins will go to the middle bin and it'll process them. And it tells you ballots with write-ins, we can either process them and kick them to the bottom where all our processed are. We have the option to process and sort, which is to move them to the middle. Or we can not process them at all and just kick them to the top, which is our not processed bin. Okay? And then what all do we want in our ballots not processed bin? We have the option, right now it's just the unclear marks or if they can't read something. But if you, depending on what your jurisdiction allows or what your use procedures are, you can kick out and not process any blank ballots, overvoted ballots, undervoted ballots, or crossovers. We'll all kick up to the top bin for your review if you want them to. So right now we have it set to process the write-ins in the middle. So it will process the rest of the ballot except for the write-in. So you can pull it and see your write-in, and then the unclear marks will go to the top. To change that, we need our election code. Okay, so we'll leave that the same right now. We have our audit log enabled or disabled. We have it enabled. If you disable it, you need to have, okay, overriding the audit log printer is currently not allowed, so you aren't even allowed to do it right now in this version. It saves to an internal hard drive anyway, but it will let you know if for some reason if this gets unplugged or it runs out of paper, everything will stop and you'll have to make sure that you're back online for the audit log to work before you can continue scanning. We have batch bin reporting. Like I said, we have a laser printer here that you can print reports. After each batch is run, if you want, you can do a report, or you can save it till the end. Right now, we don't have any. So you can print a not processed report, you can print your processed with write-ins report, or you can print your processed report with each batch that you put through. You can have it printing every time. And this works for as you're going through an election at night, if you need a early canvassing and you need a results report, you can do that at any time after any batch. The results, this is when when we're finished scanning, we can export for results. We can export our audit log, or we can archive our data. And then system and hardware, these are admin type menus where we set our date and time. We can check our firmware and screen calibration. Printers, this is more for the technical maintenance of the machine. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and scan a stack of ballots here. And it's important for our use procedures, we always jog. Make sure we're set right at 17 inches there. We'll set them in here. Just put this up against there, just rest it up. And then we're going to hit scan ballots. Right now we have 0, so we could print our 0 report right now. Actually, let's do that before. Our reports, our 0 report. Now on our reports, I skipped that one. We have a 0 report, a results report, our batch bin, our precincts process report, and our system readiness report. Now, if we want to just preview it before we print it, we can do that. At any time we can preview. So now we can see on the screen that there are no votes. We can go all the way through that, and then we can print it. It was sent to the printer. And as that's doing that, I'll show you an example of it, but we'll print our zero report, okay? We'll give it a minute here. Time to warm up. And we have our zero report, okay? So now we'll go ahead and scan the ballots. We have 0 in our current batch and 0 saved, okay? So a batch is considered anytime you hit save. So we'll hit start. Okay, so now it lets you know. We have one in the top bin. It's letting me know. Okay, so I can take a look. That's my unprocessed. So why did it go to the top? I can check to see, and it will list every one that goes to the top. It's saying it was a double pick. Okay? It means that it picked 2 at the same time here, because I probably didn't jog it well enough. So then, it'll also say I have my 6 in my middle bin, and 54 in my bottom. So I can either X out the whole batch and rescan it, or I can just X out the top one and rescan the ballots. It lets me know, it talks me through everything that I can do. Rescan outstacks. For the current batch, all ballots outstacked to the top bin must be rescanned. If you wish to rescan the outstacked ballots. So we'll hit yes. And we can pull it right out. Hit start. And now we have a total of 66 ballots that were scanned, 60 in the bottom, 6 in the middle. 6 in the middle have our write-ins on them, okay? So then we can save. And it lets you know, save current batch. It tells you again. You can cancel or save again. And so now the ballot data is being saved. And now it'll let you know, that batch we had 66 ballots, 60 processed, and 6 with write-ins. Okay? And then we can scan more. And now it moves, you can see it moved it over to the saved bin. Now if I didn't hit save, I can keep that number in my current stack and scan the next set of ballots. So if I wanted to, if you don't want to save every time, even though it only takes a couple seconds, we recommend that you do. So if we start, now, again, we have 66 at the bottom. Now, we don't have to save if we want to keep, depending on if you have 3 people and you keep moving and you decide that your election procedure is to save every, 1,000 ballots you can. So now, if we had another stack, instead of saving, we can also just scan the next batch, okay? And this would still be considered part of the same batch, because until we save, it's all one batch. Okay, now we stop again. Now we have an option that lets me know. I can look at it. It says double pick, so I close. I exit out. You want to rescan the unprocessed ballots? Yes. Take out the non-processed ballot. And continue. Now, if you want this to not do this, and this is a matter of jogging if you're not jogging correctly. So we can pull it out. Now we can save what we have. Now, what we can do in our election, in our configuration, we can do a multi-feed stop. Now what this option is, you need admin code. So we have our multi-feed stop. So what this does, okay, instead of stopping your batch in the middle and pulling it out, it will keep scanning everything and it will wait till the end to let you know what has been outstacked, okay? So now we can go to scanning our ballots. And we probably won't get lucky enough to kick it out now. Try it one more time without jogging, so I can show you how that works. Save, now we keep going. Instead of stopping, we'll keep it going. That's what happens when you don't jog them. That's why it's, okay? So now we had finished it lets you finish your run. It lets you know, you can look at them, it'll say each ballot that was not processed. So we can exit out. If you wish to continue or rescan the outstacked ballots, we say yes, and this time we jog them. We had one pop out. Look at it. Let me scan it. So once we have gotten through, at any time we can print out a results report too. So we have saved. We save. And we're done. Now we want to print out reports. So we can go to results reports, and we have options. We can do an election report, or we can do a precinct by precinct detail. And again, if we want to look at it first, we can preview. Here's our election. You can go through, it'll go through each race. And we can print that. It lets you know it was sent to the printer. We can also do a precinct by precinct. Select the precinct, and any of the 5 precincts we can print. And we can do this at any time in between scans if we want early canvassing, if we need to know what our results are at that time.
Could you output that report electronically?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to show you right now. So,
Chris, would you repeat that question, please?
she asked if you, instead of just having a hard copy, can we electronically take that over to our ERM, and that's where we get the results. And that's what I'm going to show right now. So say we're done doing this, and again, you can do that at any time where we want to go to results. Under election, we go to results, and we have the option export for results. This is where our third USB stick, our blank one, comes in, where we can put this in, and we can export for results. And it's detected the inserted device, and we have to enter our election code again. Now it's confirming, do we want to export? Okay, and this will clear any of the existing data from the device and replace it with the election results. So we put confirm. And now it's exporting onto the USB. It is done. And now we have those same results that have been printed here that we can take over to our ERM and report. Are there any questions?
If there are, I do ask you guys to come back here to the podium, just a reminder.
Oh, yeah, we can do this too, where you can look at the last ballot image. Which is in And at any time, you can look through here if you need to check to make sure your trays are working properly. Again, this is for maintenance. Okay, now here is the last ballot that was scanned. We need to look at it to make sure, say it got outstacked. And we need to take a look and see if there's a stray mark or anything on it. We're able to do that. Flip sides, back. Does anybody have any questions?
This is Dwight Sheldon again from Pickton County. You said that the EQC thumb drive, when you load that, it basically zeroes out the machine. Does that also mean it basically eliminates any archive data on the hard drive?
No. This
Okay,
is just,
so
it
it's
clears up the
unloading.
election that is currently loaded.
Okay, great. And you also indicated that you cannot use, I think you said, a non-certified USB drive. So they're specifically encrypted?
They're not specifically encrypted. It's binary data, and so it uses a checksum.
What it does, the systems, the DS200, we verify that the USB drive, that is certified during the federal process, because it has to go through every component, including media, has to go through all the environmental and performance reliability testing. And media is not media. I mean, there's an industrial grade media that is required to be used in these systems to get to the reliability levels you need to with this equipment.
Okay.
And really all voting equipment. So what it does, we do a detection of the model of the USB stick. And if somebody would inadvertently or choose to go to Best Buy and buy sticks, that they are going to, the ones hanging on the rack aren't going to be near the same quality as this type of, we generally, to go through a certification of media, we probably have to go through 30 or 40 different types of media before you get one to get to the reliability levels. And we work very closely with Delkin and SanDisk, and those provide those levels of quality. Yeah, so it does a detection to make sure that it's the model that was certified with this equipment as it went through the federal process.
Got it. The ballot images that are captured, are settings for the images adjustable? Can you adjust the resolution, color, or
Yeah.
not?
Yep, you can do, yes, you
And
can.
it'll capture a color image?
Correct.
It
It will do color image, correct? Because a black and white, a variation of the black and white, I don't believe it does color.
Grayscale?
Again, this is, there's default, and it's very sensitive, and this is something that only technicians would do for adjusting, for contrast, etc. They're a scanner. They're an optical scanner, just like your scanner in your office, but the sensitivity to be able to recognize marks is very precise. So that's not something that just anybody would adjust.
Okay. I'm just thinking of the image capture in terms of the risk limiting selection audit project that we're doing in Colorado. And we've been told by some people that having the ability to capture at a higher resolution and in color makes their RLA algorithm more reliable.
An uncertified
Yes.
system.
Yes. No. But
Verifying
the purpose of it is
certified
just the
ballot
audit.
sets. Yeah, these images are captured, and that is actually what the units use to determine marks, okay? So they are very high quality, very precise images.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess the final question is on if you sort for write-ins, the system is tabulating every vote on that ballot, including the write-in, and then you would eventually have to go back into the ESM software and manually adjust to reflect that this particular ballot contained a vote for a certified write-in candidate.
Correct. It will tabulate that it was a write-in.
Right.
And then you have to go and manually say what.
And that's back in the elections,
Correct.
ENS?
ERM.
ERM, thank you. Okay, thanks very much.
I'm Mary Everly, Colorado for Voting Integrity and Citizen Center. And I'm wondering, and maybe you said this and I just missed it, in the scanner part of the 850, is there a printer that can be operated? The reason I'm asking that is there also regarding risk limiting audits, there's a desire to print a number on the margin of the ballot. Is that feasible with this?
One thing that is imperative with these systems is to protect voter anonymity. That is first and foremost, that nobody can trace back to a voter any image that is on here. But we'll have to get back to you. We'll take a question on that and see if we can get an answer as far as how that would be handled.
Well, thank you for that. The reason that people like me are interested in the application of that number at this point in the process, is so that there will not be a unique number that could be traceable to the voter previous to this point in the process. So we've been curious about printers that function at the point of scanning to add that number in the margin.
There is no printer with this device. I mean, the only printers you see here are Automarketer printers and report printers.
Okay, thank you.
If there are no more questions in the 8:50, we've had a request for a 5-minute break. I know some of you did rush in. I will ask that we be respectful of everyone's time, so try to hurry if you need to leave. The restrooms for housekeeping purposes, as you go out the store, just take a right and then the first left, and they are there. And Chris, unless you have anything else on this particular device, I would say let's meet back about 20 after. Oh, Wayne
So,
says something.
yeah, and in the lobby, there's a Starbucks, in case you want coffee, and there's a Russell's and a little sandwich place. So if you go downstairs to the first floor, you can get whatever you like.
Hey, how you doing? Okay. Yeah. Good to see you. Good to see you here.
Oh, because they want that. This is all.
Good to see you. We're gonna run downstairs.
Generate images with unique numbers, but after it's been sent. But I just do that.
You can open it up.
You can open it, and I can't remember whether you're putting
Hi, you guys.
No, you can't really increase the can't say that's
Well, it's kind of leaving it open.
we could fix.
So,
I write that out.
Or do we need it?
no, it has to be.
Or do we have it?
It's just say the screen.
You want me to stop the streaming?
No, as long as we're badge is kind of a when you say that you submit those votes.
It's just very you know, he's also you basically have yeah.
Oh, hi.
Those are the guys that get Oscar Awards, and they send out You gotta watch them at home. Every member of SAC. I maybe have to give
But it will. I like balance with the polling place too.
We can watch all the video again.
Yeah, with all your free time, right? Yeah, just like all our videos, you know. I watch it all the time. I just finished backing that up.
But you know what?
You can export your results. Images,
Right, that's where.
That's only for the
I got
people sit down next to the windows
oh, the guns got it.
Yeah.
It's strange, this past week, number of emails has dropped to maybe, 2 or 3.
It is chilly in here. You really tell me.
oh, one thing. So do you know, but now we hired him to be the project manager. Now in our first meeting. I hear you stinking.
I really like it. It's very, I don't know why. It's a really rewarding.
Yeah, that's sort of like,
It's like going to DC.
yes.
Re-election. I just have to make very mistakes.
Well, maybe I'll just.
Except now? No. Unfortunately,
Didn't quite work. I mean, it wasn't 3. So I got the USA to the next day. And then the county, like,
colored is
So get ready to get started.
one of 4 counties.
You want to do it or do you want me to? No, I don't have it.
Can everyone
No,
get
and
started in
no,
about
last
60
thing-
seconds so we can find your seat, please?
Yes. And we're back. Looks fuller. We're going to move on to the DS200. This is the Precinct Tabulator. Like the 850, this uses a USB device. You only need one. You load the election on here, and then you also get your results get loaded right back onto here. So once you put this in, it stays in. So we'll go ahead. There's 3 USB ports that we can put it into in here. We have a key that locks. And then we also have seals that we can put over that. So what we will do, yeah, underneath here we also have when it goes through, it goes into the ballot bin, which we can then close and lock. Okay, so let's secure. And we open it when it goes in. And when we're transporting, we can also just close it down like this. We have wire seals that can go on here, okay? And if we need to take it back to elections central, the central place to have it counted, okay? It's all locked and secure. We can put seals on it, wire seals, and it's secure. So if we're going to start this up when we open polls, we have our USB in. We hit power. And this is locked. We have locks in here, so nothing can be moved or tampered with. Locks, seals, wire seals are around here, so this is secure. Now we're initializing, and it automatically prints your initial state report. Okay, so it'll show you the version of software you have on here, what election that you had put in. It'll tell you what size ballot it is, what you have for your sort settings. If you wanted to detect write-ins, overvotes, blank votes, and your version number. So right away, automatically does that. And now we have the option to open polls or shut down. So we go ahead and open polls. So it automatically begins printing our zero report. And we can cancel printing anytime, but this will say your precincts, how many ballots were cast, everything is zero. So your zero report will print all the way through here automatically. And this is eventually what it'll look like. It goes precinct by precinct. Okay, and each race, that is to show that you have 0 votes in. We'll just leave that there. So we'll cancel that. That's what it, and it'll ask you if you're going to cancel it and say yes. There is no diverter in here. You can use the 200 on the metal ballot box, which can contain a diverter. The plastic do not. So we put continue. And now we're ready to go. Welcome and insert ballot. So we will put a few ballots in here. You are finished. Thank you for voting. Now if we go to, we'll find one here, find a blank ballot or an overvoted ballot. So we have it, we want it to detect if there's no votes detected on the ballot, there's a blank ballot. So if you put in a blank ballot, it will say no votes detected on the ballot. Do you want to accept that ballot or do you want to return? You can return that ballot and it comes out and you say, oh, I do want to mark this. There you go. Or some people want to cast a blank ballot. You can accept and there it goes. Okay? Now we will find an overvoted ballot for us. There we go. Okay. So now we have an overvoted ballot here. You have made too many selections in 13 contests. We overvoted every race. So you can correct your ballot, or you can cast your ballot with errors. So none of your overvotes would be counted. If we want to correct it, come back out and ask the election official for a new ballot. Or we can cast it and none of the overvotes are counted. And it tells you that if any of the overvotes, none of your overvotes are counted. And as you can see, it doesn't take very long, just a couple seconds. Like I said, optimally you can vote 3 to 4 voters per minute on the DS200. Now if you listen closely, when this goes in, there's a write-in. You hear a little boop, 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 boom. We have it so that it's stamping our write-ins. And this is for the election official to quickly identify a ballot that has a write-in on it. And all it does is puts a pink little circle on the back of the ballot that shows it's a write-in. That's all it does, so you can separate your write-ins, and it makes it easier to find your write-ins when you're going through, since there is not a diverter on there. Now that is an optional. You can take that stamper out, and you don't need to, but if you want to be able to find your write-ins quicker, it's easy to find that pink little mark. So once we are finished, time to close polls. we just hit the close poll button. And now it's printing our closing poll report. And it'll let us know. This is what this printing report will look like, where it goes precinct by precinct, your results, and then once you're done at the end of that, okay, we also have our audit report on the back side of the results. So, as you did, it'll show precinct 1, total blanks accepted, overvotes accepted, total write-ins for precinct 1. And so it'll say, and then once it goes through the precincts, it'll actually give it a time and say a ballot was cast at 16:01:31, ballot cast. It'll say blank, if you have a blank ballot and you accept it, blank ballot accepted. Okay, so it'll go through and there's your audit of that tabulator. The nice thing about this is the screen. It makes it very user-friendly, coworker-friendly, and voter-friendly. Are there any questions on the 200? Does anybody have any? So once we're done with our reports, okay, we have an option. We can reprint reports if we need to. Say we need another one, we can reprint. Or we can reprint the audit part of it. We can do a precinct report, or we can shut down. Okay? Or we can reopen polls, and to reopen polls you need the admin password for that. So again, if we want to shut down, cancel, power down, or continue. Continue power down. Again, it audits that. It was powered down. And you finished. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Dwight again from Pickens County. Is the DS200 also capturing ballot images?
Yes, it does.
It does, and
That's how it reads it. The two camera heads are taking, as it's going through, it's seeing those images on the front and back side, and that's how it reads the ballot.
okay, but it's also creating a TIFF or PDF image of
Right.
the ballot.
Right.
And you export that with the results?
Yes.
When
So once we closed our polls, our USB that we had our election stick in now has our results on it.
with the ballot images?
With our ballot
Okay.
images saved.
Great. I'm just curious, it looks like that whole unit, the bin and the tabulator, it's like a unified thing. And so, can you remove the tabulator portion from the rest
Yes.
of the bin?
Yes.
Okay.
I will show you. This is, yeah, these are two separate things. You have the bin and then the actual tabulator.
Okay.
As a mode of transportation, you can keep them together, but you can just
I
come
see.
down.
Okay. And do you know, just from some customers of yours that actually use this now, do they tend to deploy the unit, completely, or just the tabulator separately? Do you have any idea? I'm just curious logistically how they're dealing with that.
As far as, I'm sorry.
As far as getting the unit from the clerk's office, for example, to the polling place on election day?
Oh, I don't, do you know how they're doing that?
Thank you.
No, the system's really designed to be all set up, tested, LNA tested, and locked down and sealed in the warehouse. And so, once it's closed up, sealed, then it's delivered generally intact like this, make it easier for the poll workers. All they gotta do is open it up, open the polls, and they're ready to go.
We don't have a warehouse.
It's that you perform LNA testing somewhere. Yeah. And answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
And these come with carrying cases, similar to the M100.
Chris?
Yes.
Mary Everly again, Colorado School of Integrity at Citizen Center. I had asked you during the break about the ability or lack thereof to get images of ballots off the 850, and you said, I believe, that was not feasible.
With this version, it is not certified with this version to capture the images.
But you can get them off of the DS200 on the USB stick. Did I understand that correctly? You can retrieve the images and be able to look at them separately?
You can, no, you can import that into ERM, but you can't separately, there's no COTS or anywhere that you can open up the images.
And COTS is?
Like a off the shelf, like Notepad or Word or something.
Okay, thank you. And can the DS200 be programmed to print any other identifying marks on the ballot in addition to the little pink circles that you showed for the write-ins?
No.
No? And can the 850 annotate the ballot images? You said it couldn't annotate the ballots with a printer, but can the images themselves be annotated in some way electronically?
No.
Okay, thank you.
We're gonna move on.
Real quick while we're getting settled, I do want to mention, since we've finished the demonstration on Automark, the 850, now the 200, if you have additional questions on any of the machinery or systems that we have already gone through, let's hold those questions till the end so that we can get through the last two pieces of equipment. And for anyone who doesn't want to sit through the question and answer session, they won't be required to, and we will open it back up at the very end. Aaron.
Really quick about what Dwight was asking, because I know a lot of you don't have a ton of storage at your offices. For storage, the ballot boxes do stack inside each other, nest, so that you don't have to have them all out all the time, because I know you guys will do mail elections where this is going to be sitting around for a long time, and you can take the top, the gray part comes off so that the boxes will stack inside of each other. So I think that's what he was asking about storage, just so you know it's not going to take up like a huge warehouse if you have a bunch of them.
Thank you, Aaron. Okay, moving on to the M650 Central Tabulator. This has been certified in Colorado with Unity 3011 Amendment A. This does add a firmware upgrade, which, as we said in the PowerPoint, just gives better user messages. Is really the only change. It makes it a little easier to read and follow what you need to do. This uses a zip disk. I know. Keep the laughing to a minimum, please. To burn and also get the results. So what we've done, we put the zip disk in, we turned it on, and what it does, it lets you know what election is on there. CL3400GN is the name of the election. We can press stop to keep the election, which is already on here, or the one that is in here, we can press start to load the election that is in here. So we can press start, initialize election, which is essentially the same as doing declare and initialize. We're clearing out the old election, putting in the new election. And we're going to hit start to do that. And again, we have our audit log, which is printing what is happening that we're. And we are ready for counting. It lets you know the total saved is 0 and the current batch is 0. So similar to the 850. And come in here. unlike the 850, the M650 can only be read in one orientation. So you have to have your corner cut edge, your top right, up here. And then we can go ahead and get started. And now we got that. If we want to, we can do similar to the 850 at any time. We can print reports after a batch. We can do our grand totals report. We can do a precincts processed report. We can do a totals by precinct report, and that'll print on the secondary printer. Also, at any time we can sort. We can sort blank votes, over votes, special, or write-in. So what we'll do is we'll sort write-ins to show you what it does when we sort for a write-in. Because unlike the 850, there is not a separate bin for it to go in. So if we sort for write-ins now, it lights up to let you know we're sorting for write-ins. Stops you right there, and your last ballot, your top ballot right here, we have a write-in. Okay? So then we can take that out if we need to, and finish scanning. Again, we have another write-in. Okay, so it'll stop. It doesn't go into a different bin. Each time we're sorting, whatever we're sorting for, it will stop right there, that last ballot, that top ballot is what you sorted for. Now, if we want to change that, we'll just have them go through. Okay? Now we can do, we save, and it lets me know I have 122 saved, and I have 2 sorted write-ins. Now if I wanted to, we're doing our totals by precinct, or I'm sorry, our grand total, so now it's printing on here. Okay, similar to how we can get a results report with this machine. It's not a laser printer, it's this, so we have all of our results in this format here. Okay. So really, like that, again, we have stickers, so if any seals that we need to put over, okay, our zip disk, we can put seals over anything that we need to put seals over. Once we are finished and we want to take these back into ERM, we use a blank zip disk. We will hit enable, save, and it'll say to confirm, do you want to save the total to the transfer disk? And we'll hit start for yes. And now it lets us know the total's copied to the transfer disk. Okay? So here's our results that we can take into ERM. Are there any questions with the M650? For some of you, this is a pretty familiar tabulator. Okay, moving on to the M100. This is our other precinct tabulator. we did have this certified in Colorado with Unity 3011 Amendment A. This version uses a little better, it expanded the precinct counting, or precincts that you could put in one M100 for early voting from 10 to 450. And for an election day, it went from 10 to 18 precincts. So some upgrades. And what we have here for this, we use the PCMCIA card to load our election. And like the 200, the election and the results all go on here. What we have, where it goes in, we have a key that'll get that will allow us to get in here. And inside of here, we can put our card, okay? Now once we close that, we can put our wire seals over in there so nobody can get in there on top of the key, okay? So once we are on there, we have to open this, and we can put seals on this to block this. And here's our key which can open our polls. And this key is removable so that when we're not using it, we can take it out. So right now we're off. We're going to go to open, polls. And it's going to fire up. It's similar to the 200. It is going to print our zero report tape. Just reading our PCMCIA card. Okay, here's our initial state report. It's going to show us what's loaded on here. So this is just like the 200, and it prints off what election is loaded and the configurations that we have set. Okay. So it's printed that off. Now we turn to vote. We actually have we actually have a card in here that was already, the polls were already closed. Okay? So we'd already voted with this election. So what I can do is reopen polls. I need a password to do that. And it asks me if I want to clear election totals. I'm doing that. We're going to reopen these and start at 0. We're going to open the polls. So now it is printing my zero report. Okay? And like the 200, that's essentially, they'll go through your precinct by precinct and show your zeros. Grab some ballots here. We canceled the printing. I showed you what that looked like. Okay, so now the screen up here says to insert ballot. Number of voters, 0. Now, unlike the 200, I'll show you this bin real quick. We have a diverter in here. So our write-ins will be diverted to one side or the other if we have it set to do that, okay? So it makes it easy, our write-ins are on one side, everything else is on the other. So as I put this in, you can hear that sound, that's the diverter moving over. And we'll just load our ballots. Now, here again is an overvoted ballot. So we can insert the overvoted ballot. 13 races have too many votes, including the presidential electors. So you have the option to return your ballot or to count as marked. So if we want to change, we can return our ballot. Get a new ballot if we need to, okay? If we would like to vote too many races and not have them count, we can count as marked and we can count it out, okay? There's our overvote. And here again, we have a blank ballot. No votes detected on ballot. So again, we have the option to return the ballot or count as marked. We want to return it, change our mind, we do want to mark this ballot, it comes back, we can do so. Or we can cast our blank ballot and count as marked. Okay? Once we are done, this is closed, sealed up, and we are done. We're ready to close polls. We have the key, and we switch back over to close polls. And it asks you if you want to close polls. And so now it is going to print your results report, your results tape. Okay? And similar to the 200, after it prints all your results, at the end, it also has your audit, okay? And when you opened, when you closed, when ballots were cast. So we always have the audit log available on all of our machines at all times. So once we are done printing, again, we also have the option up here. I know nobody can see this, but we can reprint our audit log report if we need to, or reprint our results report. So if we need more than one copy, it gives us that option. Okay? And we hit off. And now we can take out our card. Which is all sealed. We'll have wire cutters to unseal. Pop it out, and now we can take this over to ERM, put our results in. And again, this may be familiar to some of you as it has been certified in Colorado before. Are there any questions? What's that? I'm sorry.
Is the paper the heat sensitive tracking?
It's thermal, yes, thermal.
Repeat that question, please, so we can hear it on the screen.
She asked what the printer, if it's heat, the thermal printer, which it is. It's the thermal print. So you don't need to replace ink. There is no. And that actually concludes my demonstration. You can go ahead and if anybody has any questions.
Please come up here if you do.